Hey, Rebels.
Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things,
The podcast.
I'm Macie.
And I'm Naomi.
And we're two professional counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
Dive in.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Woo.
We have red wine tonight. Back to our roots.
Back to the roots.
Because it's a little chillier. It's a little chill in the air.
I have a hoodie on. I have the Deeply Disturbing Things hoodie on.
I'm very jealous.
It's quite nice.
If you don't have one, they're available on Amazon.
Amazon, where you get everything else in your life.
I need to get me a DDT hoodie.
DDT. So my check-in is that for the first time ever in my entire life, I went and saw a movie at the theater by myself.
How was that, creeper?
It was great. There was like one family in the very back of the theater and then me just like dead center in the middle by myself. And I saw Free Guy. It was pretty good.
Was it good?
Yeah. It was okay. It was enjoyable.
I watched the trailer.
Yeah, it was okay.
I'm a Ryan Reynolds fan. I think he's pretty hilarious.
It was interesting not having like panic moments about someone else eating all the popcorn and just like getting to like own that space in the theater was nice.
Was it nice?
It was nice. I enjoyed it.
I've never had the courage to go watch a movie by myself.
I did it like midday on a Tuesday. There's like nobody there. It was wonderful.
Well, good for you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Ending the stigma.
The more you keep saying this, the more I feel like I should have been embarrassed. I felt okay about it.
Well, you know, there's that negative stereotype of like...
Keep going. Tell me more.
The solo dude in the back of the theater.
I was in the dead center, middle of the theater.
Inappropriate things.
Obviously eating a lot of popcorn. Like,
see, I think if you're up down front, then... It's less than if you're up behind everybody.
Yeah, no, I kind of made the precedence of like, I'm here to watch the movie right here. And then they all sat in the back.
Well, good for you.
To stay away from me.
Breaking down barriers.
Yeah. That's what I do. That's really it. I feel like I've stayed in my house a lot this week, like not venturing outside other than to get the mail. So that felt big to do. And I'm glad I did it. I think I need to get out of the house in smaller ways throughout the day, working from home. So... like go stand outside for 15 minutes.
I was looking at my check-in notes and it just says chairs. And I don't know what that means. I've lost all memory of why I wrote that word.
Chairs?
Yeah. So
we have chairs, so that's good.
I don't know why I wrote that.
I see you brought the Disturbometer.
The Disturbometer is back, baby. So we can rate the disturbingness of our topics from 1 to 10.
Yeah, and I think we should do it at the end of each topic, or maybe at the end of both topics.
If we had like a fancy person like doing effects, they could like turn that into like
what qualifies
an animation
as a fancy person.
I mean, somebody that like does beyond just putting our raw footage out there. Which I appreciate that you do that. I'm just saying, you know how there's some shows that have like production value.
I completely missed that you were dissing me again.
No,
actually, that went right over my head. No, the way that you diss me by not dissing me, but then somehow diss me.
Well, because I thought you were being dissed.
No, it goes completely over my head until you think that I'm insulted, and then you backpedal, and then I'm insulted. I didn't know I wasn't the fancy one. Now I do. And I'm that person in the movie theater.
I am feeling a 1 right
a
now
1 Disturbometer. It makes me feel a little uncomfortable.
My social indiscretions.
So you don't have any other check-ins?
I apparently don't. There's something about chairs. It'll come to me at some point and I'll say, I know what I was talking about.
Well, I wanted to go over real quick because we haven't done it in a while. Like, just talk about some of our August audience for the podcast. We just haven't gone there.
Okay, now that it's September, let's do that.
Yeah, like let's do a little recap. So, our number 1 listeners, the United States, as far as countries go. So, you know,
USA.
America. Some would say, followed by Canada. Thanks, Canada.
Canada.
Okay, and Finland? What do you got for that?
I don't have anything.
Tisk. United Kingdom and Australia. Thank you for our top 5. In the US, let's break it down. Oh, no.
Don't log out. Did you just get logged out?
Yes. It does that thing that lies to you, like you're about to be logged out. Press cancel so you don't get logged out, and you press cancel and it logs you out anyways.
Google is lies, full of lies.
Quite rude. I think that's all Podbean. Okay, so just kidding. Here we go again. Back into the US. We have our number one. Ooh, Washington jumped back up. We were second last month. So Washington, number one, followed by California.
Woo, woo.
Texas always seems to be up there. Texas.
Go Texas.
Right?
And Georgia.
Georgia and New York.
Nice.
So a little, I think a little different spread. Look at that spread across
we have like all around the edges.
Yeah. We'll take those edges. We'll take more too if you guys want to give it to us. And then Canada, we have Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and British Columbia. Oh, what's that one too? There's a little... I feel like I need to give kudos to that one person in New Brunswick. Keep up the good work.
Person in New Brunswick.
Yeah. Get your friends to listen. Then we can say 2 people. Okay, so then Australia, we have New South Wales, Victoria, Western Australia, Queensland, and South Australia. That's like almost all of the Australias.
All of the Australias? Is that what they're called?
In the plurals. Yep, so... Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yes, we appreciate each and every one of you. I still want to know each of you personally.
We do, actually, and I don't think you guys really believe it, but we do.
It's true. Because we always, when we're roller skating around, say stuff like,
reach out on our Facebook.
Who are these people that listen to our podcast?
And send us your stories. Our
stories and a photo.
Most downloaded episode in August was Tiddlywinks, episode 114.
What did we talk about on that episode?
I don't know.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember our podcast.
I think that must have been... I think that was botulism. No.
That
was the one called Canned Meats.
Canned Meats and Capulets 115 was actually the number 2 one on there. And then the Invisible Hand Experiment, that's the actual, just the video we posted of the experiment.
Cool.
Followed by some best bits about botulism. And then Slender Man, that's an old one.
Ooh.
Blast from the past. Look, that got 126 downloads. Slender
Pretty
Man.
cool.
That was like a year ago. It's a good episode, man.
I'll have to re-listen.
Yeah. Of course, no one wants to hang out with us is on the list. Okay. Cool. Well, that was it for the check-ins. I think I go first today.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine.
Go first.
Okay, fine. I'm going to go first.
I'm really interested.
Why?
And excited. I don't know. I'm just happy today. It's like Friday Eve.
It is Friday Eve. I'm happy about it.
3-day weekend.
We went skating last week. That set me in a good place. I enjoyed it.
That was a good skate.
I enjoyed it.
My ass needed that.
It hurts.
Pulled out my old signature move, the shoot the deck.
Yeah.
Still got it.
You do. You look good enough.
I can do it on both feet and backwards.
I can't do it any direction or upright.
I'm going to find you an accommodation.
I don't know what that means because
I don't know either.
I can get down to mid squat and then it becomes on the ground.
Yeah, you need something to bridge you. In yoga, you use like a block, like a yoga block.
Well, that's what I was going to say, not air, but that's where, my ass finds the ground.
I'm going to work on this.
Some people may not know what shoot the duck is. It's not actually violent, in case you're curious.
It's a roller skating move.
You squat down, you stick your
no
leg out.
No ducks die in shoot the deck.
It's a move that some people think is really cool. That was me trying to diss you back, but it
didn't work because it actually is really cool and everybody knows that.
All right. You know how, so scary movies, right? We're about ready to get into fall, which is scary movie era, right? Like
scary movie season.
I'm excited. Super excited for Hocus Pocus, but that's like a different thing. I always thought that scary movies were like about we're founded on a serial killer, founded on a murder, or, like each one was about a different person. So I'm going to talk about Ed Gein today.
Okay.
And what I discovered in this is that there's multiple scary movies that are based on him.
Yes,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Well, I know that what you just said.
Which ones?
Like Psycho.
Yeah, Psycho. Do you know why? What the ties are?
I think it's the skin.
It's the skin part, and it's
skinning.
Like the odd over fascination attachment with his mom,
the mother.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the other one? The other movie?
Is it Silence of the Lambs?
The character, what's
Hannibal Lecter?
It's the...
Or is it the other one?
It's the other character.
The one who puts the lotion on?
Puts the lotion on its skin character. Yep.
Okay.
Same thing. And then...
I can't remember.
And then also...
that character's name in the movie.
Which I didn't know. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I have. I watched that with a group of friends and it was really scary. I was fairly young.
That's why I never watched it, because it seemed really scary.
So it was interesting to me that all three very different movies, very different, all were about the same person in theory. So I wanted to explore the actual Ed Gein, because there's a lot there that I think honestly warrants its own scary movie separate from all of them. That's
like more based on
the truth,
the real person.
Because there's like totally enough there. So just to start off with his childhood a bit. So he was the second of two boys. So he had an elder brother, and he was really close with his mom, as we talked about before. And his mom was Augusta, was very, very religious, like fervently religious, Lutheran, and she would preach to her boys about the innate immortality of the world, the evil of drinking, and her belief that all women, apart from herself, were naturally promiscuous and instruments of the devil. She reserved time every afternoon to read from the Bible, selecting verses from Old Testament and Book of Revelations, all about death, murder, and divine retribution. So you can kind of see some of, like, again,
this is dirty pillows.
This is a great backstory for a scary movie, just starting off with this part. Like, this is creepy. Okay, so Gein was actually pretty shy. Classmates and teachers remembered him as having some strange mannerisms. So, like, would randomly laugh as if he were, like, telling his own joke. So, to us, I mean, that's responding internally to stimuli, right?
Yeah, or just, like, those inappropriate...
Yeah, or it could be social
responses.
And apparently Augusta would punish him whenever he would try to make friends. So he would get punished for that. And his social development just really continued to be poor over time because of that. He did well in school, though, and was actually a really good reader. So, like, academically, he was good.
So some intelligence.
He was intelligent, but not socially so. In 1940, in April, Ed Gein's father died suddenly of a heart failure caused by alcoholism. So he'd been drinking a lot in the household as well at age 66. So Ed and Henry had been doing odd jobs all around town to cover living expenses. So they kind of had to adapt to being the adults in the house really quickly. And community considered them really reliable and honest. Both really hardworking. Ed actually babysat for all the neighbors. So he was actually really good because the kids of younger ages he got along with better.
Oh, okay.
So again, if we go back to the social developmental levels.
So he was behind socially and emotionally.
Exactly. And there were never any issues with his babysitting, and that
was it because his mom coddled him?
Sounds like
didn't let him have real experiences.
Sounds like his mom had a lot to do with this. A lot. Yeah.
Not that we want to blame the mother.
No, but we can blame the mom in this case.
Because a lot of people have shitty mothers and don't kill people.
Yeah, no, it's just this
shitty, this mother.
Just this shitty mom. It's okay. Sometimes they're shitty moms. Sorry, my words aren't working well today. Okay, so...
Because we didn't do our warm-up.
What was our warm-up?
I don't know. Something I made up last time.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was in our best bits that you just posted like an hour ago.
Oh, go ahead, do it.
No, I'm not going to do it now. That was like when we were off the clock.
Were you upset that
now we're on the clock, so now I have like all this pressure.
Okay. All right.
I'm self-conscious now.
Okay, so Henry, the brother, right? He began dating a divorced mother of two and planned to move in with her. He reported worries about his brother's attachment to their mother and often spoke ill of her around him, and he would, respond shocked and hurt by that. So on May 16th, 1944, Henry and Ed were burning away marsh vegetation on the property. Apparently, the fire got out of control. The local fire department came in. They extinguished the fire. And then Ed reported his brother was missing. With lanterns and flashlights, a search party went out for Henry. They did find his body laying face down. He had been dead for some time, and it appeared that the cause of death was heart failure since he had not been burned or injured. So they thought he went missing somehow due to the fire.
Yeah.
But they found him and he wasn't burned at all. Like he was unrelated. So they said, oh, it must be heart failyer.
At such a young age?
I know. Well, because the dad died of something. So I think they were just trying to like link it, like what happened. Because it didn't make sense at the time. It was later reported that Henry did have bruises on his head. The police dismissed the possibility of foul play, and the county coroner later officially listed asphyxiation as the cause of death. The authorities accepted the accident theory, and no official investigation happened. No autopsy was performed.
Who started the fire?
They're not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So they questioned Ed about the death in 1957 and brought up questions about Henry's death. So there's another person, Bernice Worden, who died, questioned him, brought up about Henry's death. And he just said it was likely that it was probably the closest to a Cain and Abel scenario of killing his brother.
So his brother was talking smack about his mom.
Probably.
And so Ed had to.
Or he was leaving.
Murk him.
He was leaving to go marry this divorced woman. You could imagine how his mom felt about that. And I could imagine his
abandoned, betrayed.
Yeah. And
how dare he?
Could his mom have made him do something? Or could mom have even killed him? Right? Yeah. Okay. So Gein and his mother, so Ed and his mom, were now alone. Augusta had a paralyzing stroke. Ed and his mom were alone. That's kind of where we left off at after his brother Henry died. So he really devoted himself to taking care of her. And according to Gein, Augusta witnessed Smith, a neighbor, beating a dog. And a woman inside the Smith home came out, yelled at him, said, please stop beating the dog. And Augusta told Ed that the woman was not married to Smith, so she had no business being there. She was more worried not about the dog being beaten, but about Smith's harlot, this woman in the house who wasn't married to him, and really made a point about that. So again, just kind of driving home that mom had these very stickler perceptions of the world of what is okay and not okay.
And I'm hearing fires. I'm hearing animal abuse.
Yes. Well, no, he didn't do animal abuse. That was a neighbor.
Okay.
So he didn't do that. Okay, that we know of. All right, so as we just move on a little bit, Ed Gein held on to the farm. He did odd jobs to kind of keep things going while taking care of his mom after his brother had died. So now we're going to kind of tumble into what happened. November 16th, 1957, Plainfield hardware store owner Bernice Worden disappeared. Plainsmith resident reported that the hardware store's truck had been driven out from the rear of the building at 9:30 in the morning. Hardware stores saw few customers the whole day. Some area residents believe this was because of deer hunting season. Bernice Worden's son, the deputy, went to the store about 5 p.m. Cash register was open and there was blood stains on the floor. Frank Worden told investigators that on the evening before his mother's disappearance, Ed Gein had been in the store. He was there and was to have returned the next morning for a gallon of antifreeze. There's a sales slip there, so they knew that he was there. So the sheriff's deputy, being the father, went out to Ed Gein's house to see what was going on, and he found her body hung upside down by her legs with a crossbar at her ankles and ropes at her wrists.
So he hadn't even tried to hide it at all?
No. The torso was dressed out like a deer.
Ooh.
And she had been shot with a .22 caliber rifle. And all the body mutilations were done after death.
Has that been shown in a movie?
I think
that sort of scene.
I think they show what they. I mean,
that seems very visually graphic.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They have a part where like the police are coming through, the sheriff's coming through the basement, and there you see like hanging bodies. I think that was kind of made to replicate that a bit. Okay. Again, Hollywood made though. So they also found some other things. They found whole human bones and fragments of bone. They found a wastebasket made of human skin covering several chair seats, skulls on his bedposts, female skulls, some with the tops sawed off, bowls from human skulls. There was a corset made from a female torso skinned from shoulder to waist, leggings made from human leg skin.
Leggings.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine? Like, what season is that? Is that pretty warm? Would you wear that in winter?
Well, it is a nude.
Yeah.
So I think that would be more of a
summer
or spring.
Okay. Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag. So her face peeled off in a paper bag.
So all this was there. So this one with this hardware store worker was just the last one then?
Yes. Well, and
so he'd been going about this for some time.
Part of what they had found out, though, was that he was doing a lot of grave robbing as well.
Okay, so these weren't all killings.
No. So a lot of this was most likely grave robbings. They did try to go back to look at past missing persons to see if he had been responsible for any of those, and they just didn't have enough evidence because everything was too old. But a lot of it, they think, is from grave robbing.
How many people do they think he killed?
They say, they know the 2 for sure, and then they say there could be a few more. He did also have Mary Hogan's skull in a box and Bernice Warden's entire head in a burlap sack. Bernice Warden's heart was in a plastic bag in front of Ed's potbelly stove. There was 9 vulva in a shoebox. There was a young girl's dress and the vulvas of 2 females judged to have been about 15 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, and then that's where I started, like, the babysitting thing starts to feel bad here. A belt made
real bad.
Real bad. A belt made from female human nipples.
I remember the nipple belt.
Did you?
I do remember that.
Which movie was that one in?
No, I just remember it from, previous serial killer research that I've done in the late night hours.
From belt nipple research?
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason, that one stuck with me, as well as the boxes of vulvas.
Yeah. There were 4 noses, a pair of lips on the window shade drawstring.
So he's not well.
And there was
mentally,
a lampshade made from skin of a human face. And I think that gets portrayed in movies a lot.
But how had nobody tapped into the fact that he was so mentally unwell? Because this is not the sign
of a well person. Well, I think because he kept to himself, and I think that's a lot of what his mom had instilled in him.
And did the mom know this was going on? Is mom still alive?
Mom died. Mom died in 1945, so she died right before the crimes, right before the Bernice Warden disappeared. However, she was alive when the brother died. So
we don't know what mom knew.
She definitely was there during the brother's death.
If she was an influence, a participant. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's the one that was killing people at first.
She was
Who
very,
knows?
Made the point of saying what was not okay. Okay. All right. So all these artifacts were gathered, photographed, and when questioned, Ed told investigators that between 1947 and 1952, he made 40 nocturnal visits to 3 local graveyards where there were recently buried bodies while he was in a, quote, daze-like state. So that makes me think like dissociative stuff. I don't know. And it makes me think of if there's any abuse at home with mom as well, which might also kind of
Was there any reports of that?
No, but again, no one really knew the inside the house stuff.
Was there emotional abuse?
I mean, I would assume so by everything that was said.
I'm just, it's hard because it's hard to separate like the fictional accounts, like the psycho, you're picturing like, oh, you shouldn't have to be that close to your mom, what's going on there.
I mean, even for the brother to say that about him and the mom being like oddly attached, I mean, you're at least to the point where other family members are worried.
Was there any evidence that she was sexually abusing him?
Not that was found, or I don't think it was actually like investigated. So he said he came out of the days while in the cemetery and he left the graves in good order and returned home empty-handed. On the other occasion, so that was about 30 of the 40 visits. On the other occasions, he said he ended up digging up buried middle-aged women he thought resembled his mom, and he took the bodies home.
Well, how did he know what they looked like if they were buried?
After he dug them up, they look like his mom.
Or maybe he was looking at obit pictures.
Or he was...
Because he probably needed fresh samples to be able to gather
a lot of
artifacts.
Or he dug up a lot of people and just took the ones home that reminded him of the mom. But what
did they think? Those just gophers?
I know, like, how well did he... Good order? What does that mean?
And digging is hard.
That is hard.
6 feet down? That's hard.
He tanned those women's skins to make the items that he made.
I don't know what that means.
What do you mean? He tanned them?
I don't know what that means. I'm a city girl.
It's like...
it sounds...
Stretching it.
I think you're making leather, but
yeah,
I don't really know what that process entails. I think that's
part of the process. I'm also not...
You're more of a not city girl than I am, though. You at least had some country time out here.
I've never tanned
I feel
leather.
I feel like you have.
I've never tanned leather or ever gone hunting. I don't know.
Did you have one of those big cross shapes where you hung dead animals?
No.
Okay.
What life do you think I've been living? You've only known me the last 10 years.
I have a lot of images of you in the country.
I see that, and it's kind of disturbing. What stories are you going to tell about me? I mean, like, I don't know. She was that woodsy type.
She was really good at tanning.
I think she tanned leathers. Gosh. Okay. Great. So he did admit from stealing from 9 graves. Okay, that's there. The caskets were inside wooden boxes. Top boards ran crossways, not lengthways. The tops of the boxes were about 2 feet below the surface in sandy soil, so it was actually pretty easy, he said, for him to get them up because he did them after they were recently buried. So they were uncertain, though, if he was actually capable of digging it up completely on his own.
Oh, they think there might have been an accomplice?
They just said that it seemed like there was 2 graves specifically. One had a crowbar in place of the body, and one casket was empty. And one failed to open when he lost his pry bar. But there was it seemed like there was a lot happening that it would have been helpful to have.
So they knew somebody was messing with the graves. Were they actively trying to investigate what was going on?
This only happened after he confessed to it.
That makes no sense.
So soon after his mom died, Ed began to create women's suits that he could then become his mother to literally crawl into her skin, is what he said. He denied having...
He wanted to go back to the womb.
Yeah, he said he didn't have sex with the bodies that he dug up, explaining they smelled too bad. Mm. That's a good reason.
So he has some limits.
Yeah, there are limits. During state crime lab work, Gein also admitted to the shooting death of Mary Hogan, the tavern owner who was missing since 1954, which they did find her head in the house. But he later denied remembering it. He doesn't remember the details of it. Again,
so this is some real unhealthy attachment.
Some dissociation stuff. Huh?
There's some real unhealthy attachment going on.
Yeah, I think so. So he then became the suspect of other disappearances, but again, they didn't really have too much, I don't know. It didn't seem like there was that great of investigation for these things, to be completely honest.
Can you put our video up of our faces?
You want to see your face?
Yes.
Okay.
And not that other thing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Pause for one moment.
I just miss looking at us.
You like your face. There you go.
I like looking at us up there. Hi.
Okay. So here we go. So they...
Because then I know if I'm like way over off screen on accident.
Yes, if you do that, you're off screen.
I need visual feedback constantly.
He went to trial with only one count of first-degree murder, where he pled not guilty by reason of insanity. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia and found mentally incompetent and unfit for trial. He was sent to the Central State Hospital for the Criminally Insane, which is now Dodge Correctional Institution.
So did he say he heard voices, or did he... I mean, what was the schizophrenia based on?
Yeah, I think it was responding to internal stimuli. I think they got that from different sources, including his. In 1968, doctors determined Ed was mentally able to confer with counsel and participate in his defense. And then the trial began November 7th, 1968, and lasted 1 week. A psychiatrist testified that Ed had told him that he did not know whether killing of Bernice Worden was intentional or accidental. Ed also told him that while he examined a gun in Worden's store, the gun went off, killing Worden. Ed Gein testified that after trying to load a bullet into the rifle, it discharged. He said he had not aimed at Worden and did not remember anything else that happened that morning.
Okay. I mean, let's say the killing was accidental. The other stuff wasn't accidental.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have called the police and said there's been a horrible accident. He didn't need to go back and put her head in a bag.
Well, and what he even said, though, was he didn't know if it was intentional or accidental. That was just the situation that happened. So to me, he's not even saying it's accidental. He says he doesn't know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
an interesting take, right?
Is that like he's so far removed from the reality, like that depersonalization where it's like, I'm not sure. I wasn't really in my body. Like this thing happened.
And that does seem to be a common theme throughout all of this. Okay, so this was held without a jury. Second trial dealt with the insanity plea, and he was ruled as not guilty by reason of insanity. He was committed to the hospital to spend the rest of his life there. Judge Golmer wrote, due to prohibitive cost, Gein was tried for only one murder, that of Miss Worden. He also admitted to killing Mary Hogan.
Wait, prohibitive costs? What does that mean?
I'm guessing of either the
like it cost too much money.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Because I think there was so much.
Have a bake sale.
There was so much in his house, like that could have probably been years of crime. They just
didn't want to tie up the court system.
Yeah, I mean that's what that reads to me, right? Like due to prohibitive costs, we only decided to pick one murder. Okay.
What the hell?
But he admitted to killing Mary Hogan. So they know he has done 2 murders and they only charged him for 1.
I think this sounds like laziness. I mean, somebody didn't want to do their paperwork is what this sounds like to me.
I mean, lazy and lack of funds. So, okay. So all that
happened.
What
a disservice to those other murdered people.
Right? Like, well, in the graves, that's not cool either. Get out of there.
Like the families, like they don't want him to just take a pass on that. Like we just, don't have the time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, where did those 15-year-old girls come from? Because it wasn't listed as the bodies that were taken from the cemetery.
And the little girl's dress.
Like there's pieces that are uncomfortably not investigated.
I'm uncomfortable with it as well.
Yes. So his property, 195 acres, big property. It was appraised at $4,700 at the time. So it was about $42,000 nowadays. They auctioned it. It became like a big tourist attraction. But in 1958, the house caught on fire and was destroyed. They said it was done by the cleaners of the house who had a burn pile nearby. But they found that there was no jump. Yeah. And so they shrugged it off, but guess who shrugged it off and chose not to investigate it? The fire chief, the son of Bernice Warden's the last victim. So he was like, I'm not going to investigate the fire of the house.
He just didn't want to deal.
Mm-hmm. So they didn't investigate it at all. When they told Ed Gein, because he was at the psychiatric hospital, he just shrugged and said, just as well. So there's that.
Did the house look like the movie House in Psycho?
It actually did. And not in Psycho. It looked like the movie house in Texas Chainsaw Massacre the most. Is the one that mirrored the most.
Did they have a hotel?
No.
Okay, that's fiction.
That's fiction. So he had a 1949 Ford sedan, and that's what he used to haul the bodies of his victims. And that was sold at public auction for $760 back in the day to a carnival sideshow operator, Bunny Gibbons.
I can see that would be a draw. Like,
he charged 25 cents.
Step inside, come see the car of a crazed lunatic or something like that. What they would say back then.
Admission to see it.
That's actually a lot.
I was about to say that's for an attraction.
I thought it was a 10-cent sideshow.
So Ed Gein died at that mental health institute due to respiratory failure and secondary lung cancer in 1984 at the age of 77 years old, which I never even knew that he was had gotten that old before he passed away.
Covered some cases where they tried to go for the insanity plea, and we've discussed it's difficult to make a case for that. I mean, do you think that was deserved in this case?
I would say I think so, but again, everything was really lacking in justification either direction.
Actual investigations and criminal proceedings.
I think the dissociative theme and the talking to himself is the one thing that flows from childhood all the way through. Because there are reports of him in school talking to himself or laughing, and then the trauma probably and attachment issues with mom, that thread flows.
It's just I want more dots to connect. I feel like there's that history, and then all of a sudden
that's the problem. Is how many
all of a sudden he's got a nipple belt. I don't happen in between there?
And that's what I don't think is properly why the non-investigation is such a problem, is because I don't think it just started when his mom died. I think he had these behaviors kind of, and maybe even low-key, maybe hidden from his mom.
Maybe with animals. That wasn't ever found or reported.
And maybe his mom was involved on some level, possibly. Don't know. And it could have been happening for many, many years. It could have been happening all the way through childhood of, what is mom covering up for him as well, since they were so closely attached.
So close. So
I think there's a lot of unknowns.
And he was intelligent, you said.
Yeah, he did really well in school, and he had good reading scores.
So
academically,
is he able to plan? I mean, those are things that would take away from that insanity plea case.
But you can be intelligent and have dissociative, and be triggered and pulled out, but that doesn't mean he didn't plan it initially. And then maybe doing the act of whatever he does puts him in a shooting someone in the face definitely would, could be a dissociative trigger. And then you don't really feel.
Where are the interviews? Are there interviews?
No.
I want to hear him explain what that collection was about. I want to know. I want to know more. Inquiring minds want to know.
Let's see here. Hold on.
Oh, do you have an interview?
Here's a soundscape.
The novel and
Wrong. Psycho.
Wrong.
Wrong. Well, see, look, they have it it looks. They try to make it look all so real.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's interviews.
Wait, is that it?
Is that
no,
what?
I don't know. I'm not going to trust anything.
Is that a vulva? I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So anyways, it's really hard with him because there's been so many fictional. There are some.
It's hard to separate.
Older interviews. I see a couple older things, but I don't quite know what you can trust. So I'm not gonna pass on that and maybe get back to you because I don't want to share info that I haven't vetted.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So Did you know that the headstone, the Edward Gein headstone, was stolen and was in Seattle?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Somebody snatched it and was keeping it?
Yeah, and they got it back, though, in 2001. So the gravesite itself is now unmarked, but not unknown. So he's right in the cemetery between his parents and brother.
Interesting. Right? Isn't that interesting? Like, is that where he wants to be? I mean,
it's...
The brother was older, right?
Yeah, it was the older brother.
So shouldn't the brother be closer to the mom? But look, he's in between. Like, does that mean something psychologically?
But he was the biggest rebellion of mom, going to leave the house to marry the divorced woman with children when you already heard her like yelling about the neighbor having a woman in his house and that how horrible that was. So, and then all of a sudden he disappeared with head wounds to death.
It seems very suspect.
Yes.
I'm sure I'm the billionth person to have said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's interesting to me because it would be really nice if they dove into this story and made a movie about it, because I'd feel like that would like check boxes for me and make those connections. But it's almost like they took the exciting parts of it and then ran with that.
But see, to me, the exciting parts is like the psychological
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what made him tick? Like what was he thinking? What motivated him?
That relationship with his mom. And
where did it start to break down?
Mm-hmm.
What were the signs?
Yeah. So, and with how quickly they were going to like just say that his brother died of a heart attack. Like, did his dad really die of a heart attack?
Good question.
Right?
I like how you had your laptop on your lap. I'm going to try that.
You're going to...
Because then you can't see my words. Because you know how I like to keep it a secret.
All right. So there we go.
You're always cheating.
You learned a little bit, but not enough.
I learned so much that it made me have a lot of questions.
That's how you know it's a good topic, when it brings up more.
I know. I want to talk to you tonight about crop circles. Dun, dun, dun.
Not crop dusting.
No, not crop dusting. Okay. Doesn't that mean farts under the covers?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Or just like it could. What do you mean? Doesn't that mean you were the one person at Derby skating bean chips? You literally had a whole
beet chips.
Beet chips. Sorry, beet chips.
I had a reaction from my butthole to the beet chips.
Okay, what that was crop dusting everybody else. Have you seen a plane go over and
that was almost dust? More than a dusting. That was almost
a sharding of sorts.
But it wasn't.
Okay. Continue. I got it. Not that.
People who study crop circles are called cerealologists.
Try again. You make it really hard not to laugh at you.
Cerealologists. Here's what's funny about that
like
to me.
Cereal?
Yeah, it's like cereal. And I was thinking, oh, they call that because they happen in wheat fields and wheat is used to make cereal. They're also called croppies.
Croppies?
Yeah.
Quite the nickname. Wow. This is a great start. I'm enjoying it.
Super. Okay.
Super.
So I wasn't sure about doing this topic because it's very visual.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that through my powers of descriptive language
and
through your reactions to the photos I share, that it'll be okay.
I'll make sure to have some good reactions.
Okay, please. A lot of oohs and ahs.
Oh.
Or uh-ohs. Or oh-nos.
Oh, no.
So the origin of crop circles has not been entirely nailed. Can you believe that?
I mean, I figured it would have been in that government report if it was.
That was UAPs, not crop circles.
They're separate.
It's separate, but related.
Okay.
It's become related.
Okay.
So it could be humans pranking.
Mm-hmm.
It could be humans under the influence of extraterrestrial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It could be extraterrestrial intelligence themselves.
Yeah.
Are the designs meaningful? Or are they just graffiti?
This is really interesting. I almost did an alien topic today.
I have to wipe my tears away. And my tears of laughter.
This is a stressful podcast.
It has been.
We're going to merge that shit out of there. But just so you know, we went live on accident.
It was an accident. It was a terrible mistake that we'll never make again.
Mistakes were made, and I was terrified. If you could tell the shift halfway through my topic. So you're doing a great job, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you. It could be extraterrestrial life getting us used to the idea of otherness.
Center outside of ourselves.
How long crop circles have been around is also open to conversation and exploration. Some think just since the 1970s. Probably most people think that. And some think since the beginning of history. Maybe the beginning of time.
I mean, we weren't that, who knows? Dinosaurs, maybe.
Maybe.
But they died. Alligators would know. We should talk to them better.
I love conversing with alligators.
Yeah.
So just like with the UAP topic, stigma happens for researchers, for seriologists. So strong government debunking has led to skepticism and increases the stigma. With the UAP report, there's a move towards decreasing stigma with government acknowledgement that there's something going on that we don't understand, but that has not happened with crop circles. So this, unfortunately, leads to limited research around the phenomenon.
That is interesting that the government isn't interested in that.
Well,
why not?
I mean, publicly anyway.
Yeah.
Serious croppies feel like they're very interested in documenting everything. Why are you laughing? Is there something about the word croppies that you enjoy?
I do.
What do you enjoy about it?
It's just pleasurable.
Croppies. So
kind of what I'd probably call the crocodiles and researchers, the croppies.
The crockies.
Yeah, they're kind of like aliens. They look a bit alien.
They're very primitive looking. So the researchers end up being those who already believe and those who don't believe at all. So it's either skeptics trying to debunk, or it's people that believe that are trying to find evidence. So I think this area of research needs people who are in the middle, who are open to looking at evidence open-mindedly without,
Are we going
bias.
To a crop circle? I'm that person.
Well, just a second.
Okay.
We need theories based on empirical evidence. I have been reading Croppies magazine. It's really good. I'll laugh. And what I appreciate about Croppies magazine is it just does not, it's not just this blind belief. Like they really look at stuff and are like, no,
okay, but is that the name though?
Yes, that's the name of the magazine.
That was a poor choice. To be taken seriously.
But it's cute.
If that's the whole thing, if the whole thing is that many people don't take you seriously, maybe you should take yourself more seriously.
But is seriologist better?
No. Who came up with that?
I don't know.
Because that person should be fired.
I just think like Cheerios.
Every time, like, get your Wheaties.
Yes, that's what I think.
So no, none of it's good. And I think this is an image problem. This is a marketing problem more than it is a science problem.
No, I think that's definitely in there. You are onto something there. So crop circles do appear worldwide. However, Southwest England is the world capital for crop circles. So you may or may not know.
I probably don't. I don't read Croppies magazine.
That my ex-husband is a wheat farmer. And so
wait, wheat or
wheat?
Okay.
Wheat. Last name Weitz, which means wheat in German.
Ooh, I did not know that.
He is of a multi-generational wheat farming background. Goes back to Catherine the Great. They were called the Volga Germans, and they all came here and they settled in Endicott because it looked just like the old country and they wheat there.
Okay.
So
you come from this wheat cereal background.
Well, I texted him yesterday. I'm like, how come there's no crop circles on your farm? And he's like, well, gotta get the tractor up on the hill or whatever. I'm like, you can't use a tractor. Like, that's not how it works.
No. We're asking, have you had alien encounters of some kind?
Yeah. So there's been no wheat crop circles down there. But I was thinking it'd be fun if we could go down and try to make one.
Ooh, and see, like, if our precision is there.
Yeah.
Like, because, from the ones I've seen just on the interwebs, they're very precise.
Well, some are very precise.
Some aren't. Okay.
I'll show you some examples. I'll show you some bad examples.
Will definitely be a bad example. I know that ahead of time.
But I thought that would be fun.
I would love to ride on it.
Like, try to make... No, you can't use a tractor, though. You have to...
remember earlier, I am the one that tans leathers. So
you probably... Have you driven on a tractor?
I weave wheat in my spare time.
Interesting that you bring up weaving. Because that's a sign of an authentic crop circle, is when the stalks of wheat are woven together.
I may be an alien.
You may be.
Are things making sense?
It's all connected.
Doesn't to me.
So I think we should look more into this hands-on.
All right.
Okay. So back to the UK.
Okay.
Southwest England, world capital of crop circles. This
pretty.
Is where 80% of the UK's crop circles happen, is the county of Wiltshire.
80%?
Yeah.
Oh, they're like in on it.
And this is near Stonehenge.
That whole community.
Remember you didn't know where Stonehenge was? Now I know where it is.
No one knows where Stonehenge. I think it floats. It picks up and moves.
So there's Neolithic sites Stonehenge and another one called Avebury or Avabury. I'm going to say Avabury. And they're both crop circle hotspots here. This county of Wiltshire.
Does anybody set up cameras? Like, can we not do that nowadays?
No, we can. That's why it's so mysterious. Because nobody's been caught red-handed doing this.
Okay. Ever?
I scoured the YouTube. But, YouTube is very, they control their information. Future topic for me, information control. I'm disturbed by it and I hate it. I want access to everything at all times. So carving artwork into the landscape is an age-old tradition in these parts. Chalk horses adorn 8 hillsides in Wiltshire, while the UK's oldest geoglyph, the stunning Bronze Age Uffington White Horse, which looks like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's really big.
That's pretty.
It sits just across the border in Oxfordshire. I need to go to the UK. I'm drawn.
Will you go fly on a plane?
I will work up to that.
Can I give you a Xanax?
I think I will take a boat to the UK.
It's a long boat ride.
Because I need to go there. My bangers and mash and my pint are waiting. And wouldn't it be fun to go to these places?
I'm literally telling you, yes, let's go to the UK. And you said, take a boat. I'm not taking a boat to the UK. Kidding me?
No, you can fly. I'll meet you there.
What, like 4 weeks later?
I don't know how long it takes to go through.
You're going to take that plane. I'm going to just dart you in the neck and drag you aboard.
I think I have to go through around Cape Horn.
I'm going to put you in a dog kennel and they'll board you on the bottom of the plane. You might not make it, but it's going to be worth it if you do.
If you say I'm your companion animal, I can ride up top.
That's true. And I can probably find a counselor to write that note for me.
Okay. All right. That sounds better.
All right.
Just keep giving me alcohol and pills through the cages.
No problem. No problem at all. I'll let you watch the YouTubes.
Thank you. That's all I need. Reports of mysterious patterns appearing in wheat, barley, and cornfields in the area began to circulate in the 70s. But it was in the late 80s that this really exploded and became a whole thing. And people were very excited about this and curious and passionate and upset and emotional and everything, all the reactions.
All the feels.
Circles began to appear more and more frequently, and over time became more and more ornate. And some resembled fractals. Future topic of mine, I claim it. Dibs.
You don't get to do that, by the way.
You've dibbed topics.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
You dib topics. You dib.
You have
topics.
dib. You dib.
When?
I had not a time ago. I don't remember exactly.
You were the queen of dibs, and it's not fair because you get a running list going, and there's a giant bunch that I can't touch, and I can't remember that shit. You don't write it down. You don't send it in an email. You just say dibs one time when
it's on my list.
When we're half drunk. Wow.
Claimed fractals.
But I can't see your list because that violates our policy.
I know.
We have
secret
a policy.
List. That's our policy. Unwritten policy.
It's the best kind of policy.
No, those are my favorite.
You can change it.
No, I know. I love that. It's like, no, our policy is actually.
Actually, you misunderstood.
Because you did not get the memo.
I changed it like 3 seconds ago. I'm sorry. But.
By the way, our last podcast was 2.5 hours. How did that happen?
Ow.
We were both like, how? I don't remember talking for that long.
I don't remember either. Well, it definitely was your topic.
Oh, you're blaming it on me.
Well, yeah, because your topic was
Periods.
First. We hit 2 hours at your topic, and then my topic
but
started.
You were joining it, so I feel like
definitely partaking. I'm not.
You got to shoulder some of the blame.
Why is it bad that we went that long?
Well, I was just very surprised.
I was surprised too. Yeah, it's a whole different vibe when we're not live. We actually want to talk more versus kind of panic.
Yes, it's much better.
Like earlier
today. I think that's better.
I think that's going to be our best bits for next week. Is just the sheer panic on my face as I realized what was happening.
You have to put that in the best bits.
Oh yeah,
because I was confused. I'm like, what's happening?
I think it's going to be the whole thing of me being like, no, we're live. And then me being like, actually, I think they can still hear us now. So I think they heard me.
And then
panicking.
You said they've been listening the whole time.
They've been listening the whole time.
What does that mean? For how long? How long have they been listening?
The whole time.
What have they heard?
All of it. They heard all of it. All 9 people heard all of it.
I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
So, yeah, because we talk about things before we even start recording. And since we've been not going live, we don't think I just started
things that are not meant for the cast. And they're like, what? And then I'm like, what did we say?
No,
oh, God.
Literally all of it. And I forgot everything we said. So I'll find it later. And I'll watch it.
It's horrifying.
And it may be used in our best bits. In our best bits.
Okay. Do you know about the Nazca lines in Peru?
No, I don't. But I'd love to learn.
Oh my
more.
God, they're super cool. So this is one of a spider.
Okay, so you have to let me actually look at like the horse one you took away. But if you want my reaction, I gotta look at it longer.
Okay.
Let me look at it.
Here's the horse.
Okay, so like the horse one. Yeah, that's really pretty, but very intentional. You can tell it's a horse.
Isn't it beautiful, though?
It's really pretty.
I mean, it's very ancient.
It's got kind of duck lips.
It's from the Bronze Age.
Wow. And it's still there today?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's super big and like.
So do they just not,
awesome.
They must choose to not plant crops in it again.
Well, I think it's like historical. So it's
yeah,
like
so they
protected.
leave it open. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's neat.
Yeah, that is neat.
And then same with these Nazca lines in Peru. There's a whole bunch of these designs. I just chose spider because
it looks creepy.
We hate spiders.
Yeah.
But this is also from the air, like a huge design.
Yeah.
Made. So it's sort of like that similar concept that when you're on the ground, as we are, as
you wouldn't
people,
notice it.
You can't really see it.
Bump.
So, like who are these meant for? I guess is part of the question.
It's very intentional because even if you were doing a prank, your goal would be to have it be seen. That's kind of the whole point of a prank, right?
But this is an ancient.
Well, I know, and that's what I'm saying is like even modern ones are. It's like a hard stretch because who's gonna do the flyby to take the photo? That's hard to get, but like as you get older, when those things weren't around to just take photos like drones and stuff, then what was the point?
Exactly, and that's why it's so mysterious. So this is, and I'll talk about this one more in a little while. This is one of the most impressive crop circles, in my opinion.
Wow, it's like a mandala. It's very pretty. It looks like moons. Those all look like little plants. They all look like moons.
This is 1,500 feet wide.
Wow. It looks huge.
Yeah, it's huge. So that's a fractal design.
That's really cool.
But some are bad.
You mean like ours will be?
Here's an example of a bad one.
The heart? Well, but and like
we could make that, I think.
And that, to be clear, was mode. And it's obvious it was a mode heart.
Mode heart. Podcast title? Oh, write it on the book.
I don't have my
It's right
pen.
here.
I have the pad of paper, yes. I didn't bring anything to write with.
Oh, sad.
How do
I don't know.
I brought you those sticky notes with nothing to write
We have
on.
no pen. We are so ill prepared. This is why we need a team.
This is a lot to do. Okay?
Like get famous with our podcast and have like a person help us, they could do things like bring us a pen.
This is as good as it's gonna get. I mean, this is
it's pretty good though. I can't complain.
I mean, we've got like the best fans and no one really expects much from us.
We love our thingies.
I like the fact that nobody expects anything from us as well, and we get to do whatever the fuck we want.
Do we have low expectations?
I literally have nothing.
That's fine.
Yes, we have low expectations.
Some are very obvious they're not aliens, like this Hello Kitty crop circle.
But, you know, maybe they're just very well versed in popular culture.
Pop culture.
Yeah.
There was a funny one I saw of Kim Jong-un's face. It's like, okay, that's probably not.
Which is showing the flip side that it can be faked.
Yes.
How do they know the aged ones? Just by like generationally, or like how do we first photographed or
like how old they are?
Yeah, is there a dating
procedure
or policy?
Well, I mean, like from the 70s ones, or like
the ones that you said, like the ancient ones. Yeah, like how do we know?
Well, I think the Nazca lines, like those have been carbon dated, I'm sure. Like okay, those have been around for a long time.
So they can tell just through the dirt.
Through the dirt experience.
Okay. Sounds like a stupid question, but it's not. Because like how do you I think the heart to that, like,
well, the heart didn't exist before.
Well, but then like shouldn't like nature kind of reclaim it at some point? Why was it maintained? How was it maintained?
Because it was sacred.
Okay.
Well, the Nazca lines and that horse thing were like Stonehenge, like a sacred places.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm wondering is like, is that original form? Has it been tailored in upkeep? What does that process look like over time?
Like, are you talking about like landscaping?
Well,
are you asking questions about
it's all
how they manicure the ground?
Well, it's all like fields around it, right? So they're intentionally not going over those parts.
Because I think it's important to the tourism and the culture and the history.
Yeah. So like at any point did somebody say like, well, I feel like we need to make this look more like a horse face than it does.
You think it was messed with?
I don't think so. I'm just saying it would be easy to do if you own the land.
Well, that happened, with the Sphinx, sadly.
Yeah, because they got altered, right?
It got changed.
Updated or
which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it used to have a different head.
Yeah. And they do that with like architecture.
But even that upgrade happened a long time ago. And I think there was a cultural paradigm shift.
And they did that in Rome, like with architecture and statues to try to.
But with that Hello Kitty, like nobody was like, we need to preserve this. Let's rope this off.
No.
Nobody will walk on this hallowed ground.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that.
No.
Which maybe that's a mistake.
Maybe
it's short-sighted.
Maybe some, 2,000 years from now, Hello Kitty
will be like, what the hell did they do?
They're going to be like, wow, they desecrated Hello Kitty.
Yeah, exactly. We'll
like
know more later.
Face.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. We'll know more later, and
we won't know more later because we'll be gone.
We'll be dead.
But our podcast will be here for the aliens to
say that, to know that we said we'll know more later.
Please follow up, aliens, on our podcast.
Please. And if you could bring us back from the dead in the future, and it's a cool future, and we can be super cute, do that.
Yeah,
but only with all those prerequisites.
Caveats. Yeah. I would be cool with an alien body that wasn't cute, actually, just in full. Like, if If you could just bring me back as a blob, I'd be pretty cool with that.
I'm not sure.
I'd be okay.
I really like
as long as it wasn't like painful.
Fashion.
Yeah, but like if that was like my prerequisite to live, they were like you could live, but you couldn't have fashion. You're a blob.
You could live, but you're yogurt.
You're yogurt, but you get like friends and family, but you're yogurt. I'd be like, I'd be down with yogurt.
I don't know. I have to think about that one. I'm going to sleep on that one.
Sleep on it.
Okay. The intricacy and size of the formations, over time they became more and more precise and intricate and vast, coupled with the fact that they appear overnight with no witnesses. Has baffled people and created a mystery about the creators. A 2008 formation near the Iron Age hill fort of Barbary Castle required decoding by an astrophysicist.
Ooh, do they want to be on a podcast?
Probably. Who eventually concluded that it was a geometric representation of the first 10 digits of pi.
Oh.
See?
Who would do that?
Somebody cool.
Yeah, I mean, either this is an alien or someone that should talk on our podcast.
Yeah. So each of these segments, see how it like juts out, is a different.
Pretty sure I've been
one
lost
of the numbers of
in
pi.
That maze before.
Did you ever have the numbers of pi memorized?
Not past 3.14 because why?
Well, it was a challenge in my math. I was
Tell me
one of those kids.
Give us
I don't
the
have
numbers.
it anymore. I don't have it anymore.
What's the farthest you have? Do you have more than mine?
Well, some people I knew could go to 100 numbers.
I know people that can go, I think, to 14 or something.
But I wasn't that far because by that point I discovered drugs.
I had a bad relationship. I think I had numbers dyslexia. I think I still do. I think that's a thing that's just in my brain.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't think that goes away. I'm off camera.
I know. See, that's why we have to stare at ourselves. It's not vanity.
It's practical. It's totally vanity.
I mean, it's practical vanity.
I've already admitted I'd be okay with being yogurt.
Not me.
You're too cute for yogurt. But you could maybe be a nice lime pie. Lime key pie. Key lime pie. That's how that goes. Pie? Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Oh, it sounds green.
Many crop circles show impressive knowledge of mathematical and scientific concepts or contain esoteric knowledge, such as the Mandelbrot set found south of Cambridge in 1991. So this was one that had fractal imagery. It's a set of numbers that creates it. It's a self-replicating formula. You know what fractals are, right?
Yeah, well, and it makes me kind of think, because I think people have this perception of people who believe in crop circles as being really uneducated or not. I don't know.
You mean flat earthers?
Yeah,
I don't think it's the same population.
And that's kind of what I'm hearing too, though, is with this, the people that people think this wouldn't be out there doing fractal art.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't work. So
so if it's people,
it's either really intelligent people
doing
a very big scam, which or
which I find amusing.
Which is amusing. And entertaining, and if not, though, then it's worth paying attention to, why here, why this way,
why now.
Yeah, and I mean, because there's the what's the point?
Yeah,
but if it's say Banksy art, right? It comes up, it's very artistic. You may or may not get it, but it's not about the who. It's about the representation of what's there, and maybe we're missing that too by getting too focused on the who.
True. Who? True. That meant what's meant to be deep, but I realized it sounded non-deep.
Sounded very serial.
The Arecibo message.
Sorry, what's the word again?
Seriologist.
No, the
Croppies.
Croppies. Thank you.
Am I crappy?
That's the name of the podcast.
Croppies. The Arecibo message. Have you heard of that? So in 1974, Carl Sagan, Sagan.
I know Carl Sagan.
Yeah, Carl Sagan was involved in a project to send an interstellar radio message that had basic humanity information, had like human DNA and like a little human form. So that was sent out. And then apparently there was an answer in the UK in 2001, the Arecibo response that arrived in the form of a crop circle. It is listed by Croppies magazine as one of the 10 most iconic crop circles of all time. And this is what it looks like.
Okay. Wow. Is this in the same area?
It's all...
So it's like a long rectangle with some almost like Aztec-y type design. And
so there's like... I think there's a difference in the DNA to like switch it from carbon to silicone, which is kind of a funny joke if you're like nerdy.
Nope, I'm not. Not that level.
And
yeah.
Instead of having a humanoid, it's like alien.
Okay.
So
that's what that top part was? Sorry.
Yeah,
that makes sense from what you were saying.
Yeah.
So because he sent this part, right?
They sent the whole thing, but it was... And then this supposedly...
Because they sent like a humanoid form.
Yes. So then it's like alien form.
Okay, yeah. Which this, like a lot of dots, a lot of shapes, but looks like a unified image that almost like Braille. Like there's a spoken culture underneath that we don't understand.
So what's interesting to me is I think a lot of these, if it's people, it takes a whole team to be able to come in the dead of night, not get caught.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. Like this is either a huge conspiracy done by a elite set of people.
An elite secret society.
Which very well could be, and that's a whole different topic.
It is.
Dibs.
It's just so interesting.
It is interesting. No, and I mean, it's very...
You would expect to go on YouTube and find a whole bunch of videos of like, oh, we caught all these motherfuckers.
I mean, and there might be
making a crop
of the
circle.
People doing the crop heart, but...
What's our crop circle going to be? What are we going to make?
I don't know. It's a lot of pressure. I feel like it has to be this our deeply
we can make our
disturbing
logo.
things design.
Yes. You got to show it in the video so it shows. Oh my god, that would be so fucking hard though to make.
Okay, but
I think just making a circle would be hard.
Oh, but this is like a snail, right? A snail design.
Well, it's supposed to be a vortex.
Okay, so are you offended?
Well, you just call this snails.
It's like a snail shell.
Okay.
I don't mean in a mean way.
No, and actually, shells sometimes exhibit fractal characteristics. So
shells are very complex pieces of nature.
Everything's connected. So the phenomenon of crop circles.
The great thing of stopping 10 times is that we won't go over 2 hours. We do whatever the fuck we want.
Well, don't we anyway?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a limit on tangents, which I like.
It does make it much harder for me to do it the way I had to do it last time because we went over. So this is better.
This is better.
Mm-hmm.
The phenomenon of crop circles peaked in the 1990s and early 2000s, but continues today. An average of how many crop circles appear each year in the UK?
41.
Close, 30. That's today. Formations reported in this year have included a hexagonal pattern overlaid with spirals in Avebury and a pattern of concentric bubbles in Tidworth Down. I just love the name of UK placers.
Down?
I know, I love that. Crop circle season usually begins at the end of May, our month.
Of course.
With the first ripening of the barley. The ripening of the barley.
The ripening of the barley in the best month of the month with the best borns of the month.
And ends by September when the harvesting of the crops cuts away the circle canvases. Oh. As the number of crop circles has grown, so has the mythology surrounding them. Some invoke the theory of ley lines, mystical seams of spiritual energy that intersect at sacred sites like Canterbury and Stonehenge.
That like come up from the earth versus being done to
it's a lot of the electromagnetic stuff. And
that's interesting.
I asked my son Skylar if I could say, because he's been doing a lot of intense research on things such as ley lines in this area. Intense research.
Intense.
And I asked him if I could say about that. So there is actually a spot up on the bluff that is related to the ley lines that I'm going to take you to. And compasses.
Are you going to kidnap me again?
Compasses turn backwards.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I've been up there with him. He doesn't want it really out there because he's like, I don't want the government to like.
So of course we're gonna post it on our podcast.
No,
we're kind of a big deal.
He said that I could say that much, just that he's been looking into it.
Okay,
well, there are ley lines.
I have a compass, so
that go through Spokane, and that I can take you there. And so he's gonna. It'll actually be him that shows us around because I don't know my way around up there.
Can he be a guest speaker? That sounds great.
Well, I don't know about that, but he'll show us around up there so we don't get lost.
Okay, sounds good.
Because it's like a vast, weird place up there.
Okay.
So I've witnessed the ley lines. So others think that this might be, of course, the extraterrestrial intelligence that might be warning humans about things like war, climate change. Like, get your shit together, humans. And in fact, remember I did that story about the school in Australia that had the...
where they
said,
students all experienced
that they had that telepathic experience with the aliens where they were warning them about, like, climate change and take care of your world, and that it was terrifying, so that makes sense. One crop circle appeared in May of 2020 in the shape of a coronavirus.
What? Well,
yes. So maybe crop circles are trying to tell us about COVID-19.
I always have the hard part of, like, again, if there's so many other things going on in the infinite things, do we matter that much? I mean, I'm glad that we do if that's the case.
If we're their little project, though.
I mean, yeah.
Let's say.
If we're a school project, then fuck you guys at this point. Fuck you guys. This has been like
that's what some people might think, is that we're just this, like they started the life here and they want to check in and see how we're doing and maybe help us here and there. And,
I mean, that's almost kind of the, can be a spiritual perspective as well, right? Like God as the clockmaker scenario of, like, he built it, and it doesn't mean he's involved in daily things. He's kind of set it to run, but he may come back and check in on the progress and make sure it's running or fix it if it breaks, that sort of thing.
And there's also, remember I did the topic on, are we living in a simulation? So it's possible that we are the project of a 14-year-old in the basement.
I feel
somewhere.
like a 14-year-old would, like,
it's like, how do
move
we fuck
on
with them?
from some stuff in my life at this point?
But that's when we're left to bad things, maybe, because the 14-year-old has to take the trash out.
But that's not giving enough credit to the 14-year-old. I'm just saying, like, the 14-year-olds I know are gonna play me like a boss. Like, I'm gonna have a fucking mansion.
If they forget? What if they have to go on vacation with their family?
Okay, but that's like 2 weeks of my life, not my whole life. Are you kidding me?
But look at Kanye.
Like, this is it. This is Kanye's the.
No, but what if that's
Kanye's the peak? That's what I get. That is the what I should be striving for.
No. What if the 14 years old is like, let's make Kanye roll and Naomi and Macie struggle?
No, but that's my point. Is, like, no one's gonna pick Macie out of the like possible characters. I've done this. I've played games a lot. I mean, your goal is to, like...
But what if you forget? We talked about this. You've forgotten about characters.
But, okay, forgetting about characters, one thing. But like what? I'm just on autopilot on that, and then like I just suck during those times, or is that the time that I do better?
Maybe because you have autonomy.
Maybe, but then that's saying that all my successes are due to someone else and that I just suck as a human otherwise.
Well, no, your successes are due to you because that's when you're.
Oh, but the video game person isn't good, and that's my debate is that like these tweens are freaking great. Are you kidding me?
But future tweens are they?
My niece is better than my nephew, who's like 2-3 years older than her. You know, they just get better younger.
And if this 14-year-old is controlling the whole universe, like that's a lot to focus on.
I mean, that's like RimWorld. I've played that game. Or Oxygen Not Included. Eventually they all die, and I will tell you that.
Oh,
they all will die because it gets too
bad.
It all gets too big to watch. You know, you start really small. And
that seems relatable, right?
Yeah, no, it does. You start small and focused, and you give certain people jobs and tasks that relate to their skills, and you do that, and you start building the society.
This is ringing very true to me right now.
And then you start broadening the space that they're in, but within that there's risks, and that creates danger, and it starts to get too big to manage. Eventually it crashes, or you exit the planet and you win. But that takes a lot. I have never got to that point because I rage quit and start over.
That's Heaven's Gate. You exit the planet.
Yeah, I just rage quit over and over and kill so many people. You can name them after your friends. You've been one.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I hope I was cute. It's all that really matters.
I mean,
in the end.
Yeah, you were probably like, you were the one that like had narcolepsy that sometimes would fall asleep, and I'd have to like save you out of the bottom of the well that you fell asleep in before you drowned.
Oh, fuck. Okay. What am I even? I don't know what I'm even looking at anymore.
Now I want to play RimWorld or Oxygen, either one.
I've never played any of those.
I'm sorry.
I don't play games.
It's okay. There might be some gamers that relate with me right now.
No, and that's great. You can appeal to them.
I'll appeal to the 14-year-olds. No problem.
Perfect. There are some skeptics to crop circles. As long ago as the 19th century, scientist John Rand Capron described basic flattened circles in crops and suggested they could be caused by cyclonic wind.
Ooh.
A theory later echoed by Stephen Hawking, who we all agree is smart.
Oh, yes.
But this does not explain the complex formations more common today.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, some of those, like, really? But some of the more basic ones, you could see, like, okay, well, if there's a certain area or region that's getting a certain, like, gust continuously that's going to affect...
I've never seen a gust of wind come and make a perfect circle.
You anywhere. Also won't ride the plane to the UK, so
what is it? I don't see the.
That means that means you don't know. Is my connection?
Okay.
You can't say that. You don't know the wind there.
No, I don't know anything.
You don't know the wind.
I don't know the wind.
Does anybody?
Does anybody know the wind? Skeptics believe all the complex circles of the last 30 years are man-made. Now this brings me to world-renowned hoaxers, self-proclaimed hoaxers, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, who in 1991 claimed they had made all the crop circles in the UK, all the crop circles, starting in 1978.
I mean, and that's where you get like the matchup with like serial killers, copycats, right? Like that was me. I did that, or maybe not copycats, but where they try to claim the
all
public.
Of them. They made them all.
Huh.
They first said 1978, but then they later switched that to 1975 because they needed to include a crop circle documented to have been made in 1975. They use ropes.
Poorly done.
To measure the formations and wooden planks that are like...
That would take more than one night.
Held to flatten the crop. So I've seen videos because this technique has been copied by other... Because now there's like crop circle teams that are like very open and that they make these...
Yeah.
So you like hold the ropes and you're like step on a plank. We can make these.
Okay.
That's what we have to do. We have to do it the authentic hoaxer style.
We have to do it in our logo.
Oh, yeah. I might get pants.
Wait. What? Pants? Like you might get pants? Like as a consequence of or for?
So I might get Deeply Disturbing Things logo pants.
Why?
I don't know why I said that.
Oh, I love you so much. Keep going. You're good.
Oh, good.
You're a brilliant shining star, and I care about you.
Thank you. Now I can blurry and I can't see my 1,000 font.
Does the spiral go over the butt or the front?
I was thinking a spiral on each butt.
Butt spirals.
I was thinking it looked like some kind of bedazzling.
Bedazzling.
Or at least some like really fashionable stitching. You're gonna want some too.
Yeah, probably. I hate being left out.
They're gonna really make your butt look real good. They're gonna be like apple bottom jeans, but with
not for
vortexes instead of apples. Okay, stop making me laugh. I seriously cannot see anything.
You did this. This isn't my fault.
I did not do. I didn't do anything.
Liar. Okay, let's take a breath.
Okay. I still have tears streaming down my face. All right. So here's a picture of one of those hoaxers and their board thing. You know you want pants.
I'm trying so hard. Oh, he's got a board.
Yeah, that's the board.
What's in his hand?
No, that's like a stick.
He looks scary.
I know. They both look scary UKAF.
He looks like he lives in the town with the Ed Gein. He looks like he worked with Ed Gein.
Yes.
Sorry, whoever that is in that photo.
That's one of the hoaxers. The ones that said that they made all the crop circles in the UK.
He looks like he rides a tractor.
From 1978 or 1975. Yeah, depending on which report you look at.
Yeah.
So do you recognize this crop circle?
No, I don't.
So this design is called the Eastfield Pictogram and was used on the cover of a Led Zeppelin album.
Oh yeah, it wasn't not my era, but I know people like Led
Zeppelin.
Yeah,
people like me.
People like you like it.
Yes. Old crop circles.
How old?
Old.
Okay. 8,000
years old.
Dang, that's old.
So most people think the crop circles started in the 70s. I still have to wipe my tears away. But that is not the case.
It's wrong.
In 2015, NASA released pictures of 8,000-year-old mystery structures in Kazakhstan that resemble ancient crop circles. Mm-hmm. And they are known as the Steppe Geoglyphs. And scientists have no idea how they were formed. So, look at these.
Oh.
And these are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Interesting. And look at that one.
Yeah.
Ooh,
a big circle.
It's a circle with circles.
Dots.
Yep. And some think a cryptic section of the Dead Sea Scrolls about a light making marks in the fields is referencing crops. So a lot of people witness these orbs of light.
Yeah, around it.
Around the time crop circles are made.
You know what it reminds me of? I was just thinking so I have tattoos. It reminds me of tattooing a bit of kind of putting your perspective or meaning in an image on a surface that you're kind of claiming or owning or gaining some significance from.
So you have the skin canvas.
Yeah.
And these are the wheat canvases.
That also relates with Ed Gein.
It does.
And his skin canvases.
It does.
Sorry. There was a wine drippage. It did go on your shirt, but it actually landed on a black stripe, believe it or not. And
is that what happened?
It's disappeared.
I'll get out my Tide pen if I need to.
Lucky you. No, it's gone.
Okay.
Well done.
There are 2 cases that are continually recycled as a means for grounding the crop circle phenomenon in antiquity. This is from the Croppies website. Good job, Croppies. So this is from 1590. It's a story about a field that they saw people dancing in there whose feet were deformed and like those of goats and oxen. Incontrovertible proof of this. Let me say that
you
faster.
Tried really hard.
Incontrovertible proof of the truth of this occurrence was the fact that this place where the dancing had been enacted was found on the day after the matter, that trodden into a ring such as is found in a circus where the horses run around in a circle, and among the other tracks were the recent marks of the hooves of goats and oxen. And these marks remained visible until the field was plowed up in the following winter.
The hooves.
So this is the time where people really thought witches and demons.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like that time period. Almost like kind of leaning for a reason.
Yes. So what is important about this story, though, is it shows the link between rings and plants, in grass or in fields, and the supernatural. So the things we don't understand, like there's these rings. So when crop circles began to become really popular, I think that history made it easier to link it to extraterrestrial and UFOs and things. And even today, circles in grass are called fairy rings. Would you step into a fairy ring?
I mean, yeah.
Have you?
I don't know if I have, but I would definitely.
Have you had fairy rings in your lawns before?
I don't think so. I'm that person that's really freaked out about oh, there's ghosts in here, let's go. I'll go there. Whatever it is, I'll go there. Okay. But I'll be equally freaked out. Well, if you see
a ring in the grass, sometimes it is mushrooms in the ring, sometimes not.
I like roller coasters. They scare me. About it. But I'm also terrified of finding out the truth.
Okay, look at this picture from an article from 1678.
What's in the middle?
It's the devil.
I was going to say, it looks like the devil.
It's the devil.
So the devil's in the middle around a ring that kind of looks
concentric rings.
Kind of looks like our podcast logo a little bit in an oblong form.
This is the Mowing Devil.
Oh, shit.
So a lot of people use this as okay, this is proof that crop circles have been around, not just from the 70s.
Wait, it's called the Mowing Devil?
Yes. Look.
Can you tell me what that means?
The Mowing Devil. This is an article
from
1678.
So but this is kind of linking again with that kind of witchcrafty, there's some sort of evilness happening. Okay.
So the story is a farmer attempts to bargain what he believes to be a fair price with a poor neighbor to cut down his oat crop. The neighbor demands too high a payment, so the farmer curses that he would rather employ a devil to do it. Overnight, the crop is seen as if it is ablaze. So there's confusion over was it actually on fire or not.
The devil's doing.
But during the following day, it is found to be cut so tidily as beyond human capability. So these perfect circles. As a consequence, the farmer is afraid to bring in his crop, so it remains in the field and presumably left to rot.
So that's kind of the flip side of this, is viewing it as kind of more the religious side of demonic.
Yeah, in the past, which I think, that whole unknown and what's happening, that fear, maybe made it easier to be associated with above. with extraterrestrial, but I don't know. That's just a theory. Let's talk about the Golden Ball Formation.
Okay.
And Challenge. Do you ever watch Ancient Aliens?
Sometimes, but not enough to claim anything.
Okay,
it's like the show to go to bed by.
You know the crazy hair guy, Giorgio?
They all have, first of all, everyone on the History Channel has like crazy hair and beards, and it's like, do they hire for that? Or
Giorgio and Ancient Aliens has like crazy hair.
I mean, again, they all do. I can't not look at that and say, where do they find these people? I mean, it's like they intentionally find them to look out there to then be judged by everybody else.
So he challenged these hoaxers, not the other guys, but these other self-proclaimed hoaxers, to recreate the Golden Ball Formation, which is a crop circle that was made in this field of these like pretty golden flowers.
Okay.
And so, you know, they were able to do it, you know, being filmed the whole time and daytime. They used the stick and rope technique. They had an allotted time,
and that's kind of, to me, would be like the test is like, okay, I mean, it's gonna almost be like, I don't know, Netflix's Glow Up. I don't know if you've seen that, the makeup show.
Glow Up, yeah.
Okay. But like, okay, let's get some teams in here and start rating their quality from beginning to end.
Yeah, so they did this. It wasn't like the most hugest and almost elaborate thing, so I thought that was like a good challenge. Like it was doable. It's like,
I think that's good. I mean, you don't set them up to fail on the first
it was
episode.
Like, it had some intricacy, but it wasn't like this huge thing.
Yeah, like give us that good cat eye.
It was a realistic
in episode
challenge.
1. You should be able to do that.
Well, I can't.
I can't either.
I can't do anything.
But we're not we're not makeup artists, but these people do crop circles, so in vain it should work.
Yes.
Okay. Can I see?
So from the air, I actually don't have any pictures of this challenge. Sorry.
I did watch the video. I was like, I'm on the Glow now, and I'm like, the aliens are gonna
explain it though.
The aliens are gonna know we talked about Glow, and they're gonna be like, how important is Glow Up? Like, really? And we're gonna be like, not that important, but
not important, but yet
Delta variant important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from the air, it looked similar. You know, you're like, oh wow, that's pretty good. But then when they really got down on the ground and looked at it, in the original formation, none of the golden flowers were smashed or destroyed.
Okay.
And in this one, it looked like they were trampled with planks. Like that's
obviously
what it looks like. And so none of the stalks also were broken in the original one.
Interesting.
Yes, they were just like laid down by some process.
Very gentle.
And so that's the quality that Croppies or cereologists really point out as the difference between hoax ones and real ones is that things are not broken. It's like this intense heat or something is applied.
Well, and I think that's important. Like, they're not just saying everything's a crop circle by an alien. Like, that's not their goal. Their goal is to say that these things stand out from what we know of what other people do or what we know of in other situations.
Yes. So I personally think that most are probably man-made, and even Croppies don't deny that, but I think there are some that are very mysterious and have certain qualities that can't be explained.
Or replicated, which we know in research is one of the things. Like, you have to be able to replicate a study.
Replicate that in the middle of the night without anybody catching you.
And if you can't, like, it's okay to say that we don't know the answer.
We don't understand.
And I think that's the part of the scientific method that people leave out sometimes, is that we have to have a for sure answer, but there is the part in between, which is we don't know yet.
And let's look at the evidence and don't just go off of biases and stigmatize people that want to research this area.
This is where we are right now on both sides, and we'll continue.
Yeah, anybody right now that's like, oh, I research crop circles. Like, people are going to automatically think they're bananas.
No, but like, okay, like if that's your drive and you have a passion for that,
there could be something here.
It's there could be something there. I mean, I know people that do less and who feel more about themselves than others. So fuck it.
So here's the certain qualities in these ones where it's like, something's going on. The plants aren't broken, like, at all. There's no breakage of the plants.
And to me, that's like I mean, I have no patience whatsoever. And if you're trying to hurry and get something done in a night, to not be caught, to not be seen, you're going to be hurrying. Unless my only caveat to my like other side is thinking the landowners would have to be involved. Like, these people know when people are on their land. So to me, that'd be the only time when like you could relax, because if the landowners knew and it was like, okay, like we have time, no one's going to report anything, it's fine, then you wouldn't have that stress involved that might make you make a mistake.
It seems like people would still be caught though.
I mean, maybe, but that's like that's like the flip side of it for me, is like, if it was my land, I'd be very aware of what was going on.
And that's something skeptics have said, like, oh, there's money being made off of this.
I mean, there could be.
Like with the Led Zeppelin one, like that design was all over the place, like t-shirts and all over.
I mean, I could see that, especially in those areas with like the Stonehenge. You know, it's kind of a thing around there as far as like having symmetry and having this like out of this worldliness.
Yeah, true. So some, as you mentioned before, they're actually woven. Mm-hmm. So it's not just smashed down, they're woven in with each other. That would take hours.
I mean, that would probably take me like 6 months. And because I would start to be very particular, I'd have to go into a specific mode of myself.
Yeah, and if it's something that's 1,500 feet wide.
Yeah, I don't think I could crawl out of that in a night.
No. There's evidence of intense heat in these few ones.
Because you would think that like the people who are experts in replicating would also know expert ways of enhancing the process. So you would hear of like, oh, by the way, we can do this with heat somehow.
But they can't.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
What happens is there's the like the elbows in the plants. Mm-hmm. They become elongated.
Interesting. Okay.
People think like the result of this intense heat. So
they bow out.
They lengthen. Mm-hmm. So they can lengthen like up to like this much.
Overnight?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And there's also evidence of electromagnetic energy there. And also when they gather seeds from the circles and plant them, the crops are more bountiful than the regular seeds. So
the ground is rich.
So there's something changing there. Mm-hmm. And this is not all of them. These are the ones that people are like, okay, I think these are real ones. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, all these hoaxers, which the really hardcore Croppies think maybe the hoaxers are what do they call them? Like set up by, like the government makes them do it. The government stooges or whatever. I
just don't feel like the government has time for that. But I mean, maybe.
Maybe there's a section of the government.
I feel like just people have too much time. But people with jobs don't care. But I could be wrong. But I mean, I definitely see that like, there's a bit of this that is, I mean, we don't have an answer for. A bit of it we might. And a bit of it we do. And it's kind of figuring out, okay, that's great that you guys can replicate it, but what about these pieces that can't be, or that haven't been, or that are from a long
And that's the problem with the stigma, is there isn't enough serious research around it.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not okay to think about things outside of...
It's not okay to think about it seriously.
Well, but why not?
Because there's stigma.
Well, but why the stigma? And part of my thought almost goes back to my topic of the mom who was like very religiously like, no, this is the way or it doesn't exist. People get very rigid in their thinking of how things are or should not be.
Well, that was a big part of that UAP report is, okay, we're going to admit there's actually something here. So let's reduce the stigma so people will come forward and we can look into it seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I think the research starts with us making our own crop circle.
I agree. I mean, I don't want to claim to either be a good crop circle faker or a good alien. But, we'll make our design and see what that turns out like. no promises
That's
or
all
guarantees.
I got.
That's great.
Croppies for life. Yo.
All right. Until next time.
God, I fucking got nothing.
Until next time, I'm going to be real sure I don't make that a live cast again without not knowing it. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's important.
Until next time, eat your Wheaties.
Do it.
I just came up with that.
Eat your Wheaties?
I'm proud of that.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. Because I had nothing, and then that came, and I felt like that was something.
No, that was good. That was a good something. I didn't really have anything other than still my blind panic from earlier.
Never alive without knowing. It's so bad.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god, we forgot to do this.
Okay, hold on. We can do that. I didn't stop the
this could be for our specials.
I didn't stop the actual recording yet of audio.
Oh.
Okay. Shit. This episode is gonna suck to edit. Okay.
We don't have to.
No, we're going to.
Okay. It's your choice.
And
on the Disturbometer, how would you rate your...
All right.
Ooh, you made it spin.
Last minute Disturbometer for our podcast today.
Do that again. That was cool.
Woo! Okay, so we're going to rate first my topic of Ed Gein and our unknown answers for a lot.
What do you rate it on the Disturbometer?
So I would probably, I think I'm going to rate it like a 7. Like a lot of what was listed was disturbing on its own. I feel like this is going to be a future topic because I think some of the unknowns are what is going to make this go up on the Disturbometer for me.
I like that. I'm going to rate mine a 4.
Well, no, you rate mine first, and then so we rate each other's, and then we do yours.
That's a lot of rating.
No.
I agree with you.
You want 7?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, cool. 7.
We're not crafty, BT dubs. Now you see that I have that stuck into a matchbox. You just showed behind the curtain, Macie. Where's the tack?
I have no idea. I'm going to step on it.
All right, okay. I'll just hold it.
Okay, your topic. This has been a shit show today. This topic, your topic. What was that? I'm gonna put this one at. Okay, here's the deal. I'm gonna put it at. I'm gonna put it at 6.
That's really high.
Okay, the reason I'm doing that though is like there's not enough answers at all. There isn't research, there aren't videos, like there's a lot of unknown for me that I would like to know more about. And like what is trying to be communicated with us, if anything. And even if it's not, what are these people, this unknown group of people that really need to be heard mathematically? Like these nerds need us to understand them, and we don't. I
just realized I don't have my headphones on. So I apologize if I'm shouting at you.
What would you give it?
I would give it a 4.
You give it a 4.
I think because I don't feel
I got it.
Scared that much.
Yeah, to me it's like.
But if I was in a real crop circle, I'd be fucking scared as fuck.
So to me, like, I give the 6 because of the unknowns with it. Like, is there something we're like missing? And there's like they could be like yelling at us and we're missing it.
Yes.
Because we're stupid. Or is
it we are.
Or is
that's been documented.
It makes less sense to me that it's like some artistic form for them that they just do on the whim versus, hey, we're trying
there's something serious.
We're trying to tell you idiots something.
Just listen.
And we don't. So there's that.
And we don't.
Yeah. All right.
I love it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
Wow. This episode is going to be a fucking wreck.
But I think it's a good episode.